this time I was going to share, because I've had a request to share about how Jim and I met. And then another time I'll get into the grandchildren and tell you about them and maybe get some pictures. But anyway, I was an LPN nurse at St. Alexis Hospital in Bismarck, North Dakota. And that's a long story how I got there. I had a friend that worked there, and I went to have lunch with her. And she said, "Why don't you come work where I'm working?" So I went to see if they had an opening, and sure enough, they did. And of course, God was leading me, I'm sure, because not too long after I started working, Jim was admitted to the wing that I was in charge of. And so I came up from dinner one night, and there he was. His dad was standing outside the room, and of course he filled me in on all the details of what had happened. And the head nurse of the whole floor told me to go in there and just keep him alive, and they didn't expect him to make it. So I thought, oh no, I won't get all my charting done, and I won't get my pills passed, and gotta sit there and suction the blood out of this guy's throat, and well, maybe he'll die. I mean, nurses don't usually think that way, and that's not what I'm trying to say, but I mean, it was a thought. Like, maybe he'll pass away and then I can get my work done. I mean, it was going to happen anyway. So I thought he was an old man. His head was all swollen, and his one eye was kind of popped out of his socket, and so he looked like an old man. And so I was there suctioning the blood out of his throat so he could breathe decently. And when my shift ended, he was still there. And when I came back the next day, he was still there. And so anyway, that was in February 1964. And let's see, he was discharged from St. Alexis and transferred to his the hospital in his hometown. And I guess he was there a month. But he started writing to me, I think is how it started. And so when he got out in April, he told me he was coming to Bismarck and could he see me. And his friend brought him up, and our first date was with his friend and his girlfriend, and his girlfriend lived in Bismarck, and there I was, and it was really kind of an awful date. We had to depend on them for me to get home, which was not fun, but anyway. So that was April. We got married in June 27th, 1964. And, my mom was concerned, and rightfully so, being a good mother she was, that here's this guy that I didn't know from another town that nobody knew anybody that lived there, and here I am marrying this guy. So I had brought him up to meet my parents, and they liked him. Who could not like Jim? He's friendly and outgoing, and so they accepted him, and we started planning the wedding. Of course, didn't help that our wedding was going to be a week after my sister's wedding, which we could have been more thoughtful of my dad, I guess. My dad and my mom. But we weren't. We were pretty selfish people. Sorry. Anyway, we got married in the town where Jim was born and raised. We didn't put that on my mom's and dad's church, and a lot of more work for them, so that helped. We hired a photographer, and the photographer took a bunch of pictures, but of course he cut everybody's head off, or they just were not usable. But I have one, and it's not a very good. I should have gotten the original print. Is it reflecting off of all the light here? Anyway, it's a card that Dizzy and Elvis sent us. But anyway, that's our one and only wedding picture, and then it got torn. You can see the line there. So anyway, and we've been married since 1964, which was, what, 57 years in June we were married. So, thanks to my mom's prayers, I'm sure, and his mom's prayers. Next time, maybe I'll get to talk about my grandkids. I found out some of them are listening, so I better, that's what happens when you start naming names and dates and birthdays and you miss somebody. So anyway, love you guys. Thanks for listening. See you next time.